Okay.
All right.
Hi, I'm Clarence Upgraded. I'm here with Priscilla, and we want to talk about what is important to her. And Miss Susan Downs introduced me to her, and you said you would like to be on my YouTube channel. And can you tell me about yourself and what you're doing to help others?
Yeah. Hey, my name is Priscilla. I am currently working on speaking about people pleasing, but I'm kind of taking a different angle on it because sometimes, I love people pleasers. As a recovering people pleaser myself, we don't really relate people pleasing with overgiving as much as we should, and how that can lead to burnout and exhaustion. Really, I equate it to setting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. And at the end of the day, as much as I know that people want to have caring hearts and they want to give to others, and usually, I feel like you give people the benefit of the doubt. If you're a people pleaser, you're generally a nice person, you just really want the best for others. But this can become a bit more of a mental challenge when you're constantly taxing the trauma, that your immune system. Basically, you're living in survival mode. And I don't want to look at people pleasing as something that's a weakness, but rather a strength that I think fellow people pleasers can kind of harness and take a hold of. And what I mean by that is when you really realize what people pleasing is, you have the ability to read the room. You have the ability to tell through micro expressions or just by what someone may be like showing you in their expressions, if they're going to get upset, if they're annoyed, these types of things. And these are all highly attuned survival skills. And this is something that you have kind of unfortunately or fortunately picked up over time, because being in constant survival mode means that you need a way to protect yourself. And either you're a person that's maybe defensive or pushes people away, or you're a person that is too open and wanting to please everyone, much like a people pleaser. But here's the rub. What most people don't tell you about people pleasing is that other than it making you kind of a nice, flexible person that adapts to situations very easily and makes everyone else happy, there's also another side of it, another side that a lot of people don't talk about, and that's kind of the dark side of people pleasing. You're also the one that feels so much, but yet has no outlet, no one to tell what's really happening with you, how hard you've been working, how much pain, time, and effort that goes unseen by others and simply sometimes not appreciated, that goes into all this effort, and then you feel exhausted in the end. So, here's the real thing. I want you to understand that even though people pleasing is something that that can be a hard burden to bear, it's a skill set that you have picked up from being in survival mode most of your life. This is something that you can tune, and that with boundaries, which would be self-protection, you can really tune it to where you can help others, but with a limit. Don't be the type of person that just continues to give out of an empty cup. Fill your cup first, and then you have something to give. But the only way you can do that is by putting boundaries in place that will help you. And I understand, it's hard. I'm a recovering people pleaser. I have a very hard time saying no. And really, it's not that you don't have the capability of doing what someone's asking you to do. It's that, do you have the capacity? Do you have the bandwidth? And most of the time, I know myself, I feel bad saying no to someone because I don't want to disappoint them. I don't want to upset them. I don't want to make them mad. But, here's the truth. Sometimes you have to make someone a little bit uncomfortable so that you can feel comfortable, because they may not like this new person that you're becoming. This person that kind of says no to things, or says, actually, I'm not available for that right now, or I don't have time, maybe next week. And, you can still be a nice person, and you can still say it in a nice way. I don't want to take that away from you, because that's what makes you special. But I also want to give you a tool to save yourself. Because when the boat sinks and you're handing everyone else a life raft, but you don't even have a buoy to hold on to, what are you going to do in that situation? So I don't want you to drown under all of the self-sacrifice that you've given, everything you've done for everyone else. I want you to learn to start to save yourself and to do it in a way that's unselfish, but that it's you're not abandoning yourself in the process. So I'm Priscilla Key, and that's what I have to say about people pleasing and boundaries. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I want to ask you a question though. Is this something that has been a challenge for you, that is encountered in your life? And so you're trying to take something that you're trying to learn from and get something like empowerment out of. That's why this has become important to you right now, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to take a different angle with it. And it took me years to get to this place. You know, I was the type of person that would say yes to everything. And I worked in many corporate roles where, you know, that's kind of the expectation. Like if you tell your manager no, I had 101 degree temperature. I had this fever. I was on my deathbed.
Really stressful.
And I still pulled through. It was a Saturday and I was still working on the presentation. I get a call from the president of the company and he's like, "Hey, I haven't heard from you in a minute. I'm just wondering how that presentation's going." And I'm like, "Listen, I apologize. You know, I would usually respond to you within 10 minutes of receiving an email from you. However, I have 101 temperature. I mean, I think I might have the flu right now. So I am still barreling through. I'm still working at a coffee shop, like working on your presentation. It will be done. I can even get it to you by Sunday." What was I doing there? You know, what was I saying to myself? You know, I mean, I think sometimes it's almost too late when we get to the point of burnout because we don't have many choices once we get there. Once we're exhausted beyond all means, we've given it everything we've gotten. You know, I mean, the deadline goes from, hey, I need it by end of the week to by end of day, you know, and then that jumbles your whole schedule, all your priorities, and everything that you had planned for that day is now gone. And that's not really, I don't think that that's really something that we want to continue to normalize because it's not safe to normalize survival mode. It's not safe to normalize being in a high cortisol all the time. I would be constantly checking my phone for emails, constantly looking at all these things. And meanwhile, my life was passing me by. My family was wondering where I was at because I was constantly at the office or at events or at presentations or at things working for someone else behind the scenes. And at the end of the day, all I got was, "Hey, great job on the presentation," and nothing else. Of course, I was just showing up for the paycheck, but at the end of the day, is it really worth it? And so I kind of want to change the outlook on it. I think that there's a better way, and I think that there's a way that sometimes, you know, we get so caught up in saying yes and doing that thing. I remember my turning point was really trying to implement my first no at the job. I had been working with someone on helping them to promote an event and build sort of a web page for them. And I finally just replied back to them via email and said, "Hey, you know what? Listen, we have this incredible template that you can use. I know you're having your event sometime next month. Why don't you just fill out the details and repost it yourself? You can send it to me, I'll approve it, and then post it on the website. But I really kind of need you. I think it's super easy, and if you need any help, I can totally walk you through it." For me, that was a big step because I was so afraid to tell them, "Can you do it yourself?" I was so afraid to essentially tell them, "No, I'm not going to do this thing I've been doing for you for the past several times." And so I felt accomplished after that. That was huge for me because I was relieved. And you know, and this person didn't react the way I thought they would. I thought they might be a little annoyed or kind of push back. But they were absolutely fine with it. They're like, oh, that's totally understandable. Okay, got it. If I had realized that the third or the second or the fourth time that I had done that for them, maybe it wouldn't have been so taxing for me.
So you know what your limit was, and you know where your stop. This is too much for me. I need to set a boundary here. And, and that's what this is about.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's this, again, I think that people pleasing, if you look at it as a skill, you can use it to your advantage. And here's the thing, I think we're all in survival mode. I think at some point in our lives, we're just trying to make it through the day.
Yeah, right.
Right? We're just trying to earn a paycheck or do whatever we need to do. But there's an amount of self-sacrifice that comes into that just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up when you want to live a life you love. And if you want to live a life you love, you can't continue to tolerate sacrificing yourself all the time. You can't abandon yourself. You know, you have to do it for yourself. If you're going to set a boundary for anybody, begin to do it for yourself. One step at a time. It could be simply saying, hey, I'm not available for any emails after 6 p.m. If it's urgent or an emergency, I can take a look at it, you know, that night or tomorrow morning, but please make your best judgment call. You know, I think you just need to train people how to work with you, set the precedent, because if you don't, they'll just say, well, hey, I didn't know that. I didn't know that I was, you know, like over consuming your time or taking time away from you and your family or that kind of thing until you say something. And that's the hardest part, is actually saying something.
All right, thank you, Priscilla. I really learned something by talking to you today. We're going to complete this video. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for being on my channel.
Great, thank you.